Hello everyone, it's Menenberg. It's been a while. I apologize for that. I don't know where the time went, but here we are. We're like 2-ish months away from the AP exam, maybe a little more for some students who've taken it in June. But we need to get to work because I graded some SAQs recently and I'm noticing a trend. There's a lot, and I've seen this for a couple years now, there are a lot of SAQ prompts that will ask students to identify or somehow comment on the author of the stimuli or the stimulus's point of view, comment on their claim, comment on their argument, that type of thing. And many students are struggling with that because they simply don't know what the claim is. They don't know what the author's argument is, or they inaccurately put this is the claim, this is the argument, and they get it wrong because they're not actually identifying an argument, they're not actually identifying a claim, they are simply giving some sort of summary of the document, of the stimulus. And so what I want to do today is I want to take a look at an SAQ stimulus, and I want to show you kind of what that prompt might look like so that you can be aware, because it's coming. You have 5 SAQs, 5 different stimuli on the AP exam this year if you're taking the digital version. So it's important that you know how to do this, because guess what? You got to prepare. It's coming, and if you don't know how to do it, you're going to be kind of caught off guard and you're going to miss some points that really shouldn't be that hard. Okay, let's do a quick screen share. I'm going to show you a prompt. This is actually an AP Euro prompt, but if you're taking AP World, you'll certainly recognize the content here as well. So I think it works. Okay. So this pertains to the end of the Cold War, and it is a secondary source from a historian named William Bernstein. We don't need to read the stimulus right now, okay? Remember, whatever the question, if it's a multiple choice, if it's SAQ, we always read the prompts before we read the stimulus. That way we know what we're reading for. This is a habit that I need you to get ingrained in your way of doing things so that it becomes reflex, it's your default, your modus operandi. And that is the way you're going to maximize your timing and get better at taking SAQs. First, let's drink some coffee. Okay, so typically the first prompt on an SAQ set, and when I say set, I mean an A, B, and a C. So question 1, A, B, C. The first question on that set, part A, is often going to ask students to identify the author's argument, their claim. Sometimes it'll deal with their point of view, that type of question, okay? And it's not about summarizing what you're seeing. Now this spills over into other parts of the AP exam, namely writing a thesis statement for your DBQ or your LEQ. So learning how to identify what a claim is, what an argument is, what a thesis is, kind of important, because if you can't identify one, the chances of you being able to write one for your FRQ, a little bit lower, okay? So let's look at this question. It says, identify Bernstein's central claim regarding the reasons for change in the Soviet bloc, okay? So we already know there's change, right? There's a change we're going to see somewhere in this passage, in the Soviet bloc in particular. And the dude is going to give a reason. He's going to make an argument. Now, at a fundamental level, and I know some of you are watching this video, you're trying to really quickly skim through the passage and see if you can do it. Stop, okay? At a fundamental level, what is an argument? What is an argument? What is a claim? They're the same thing. Thesis, claim, argument, same basic idea. An argument, a claim, a thesis is a position that somebody is taking that somebody else could disagree with, reasonably. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. An example would be the United States has 50 states. Is that an argument? No, that is not an argument. An argument would be the United States should have more than 50 states if the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico were admitted as states. That is an argument, because somebody could disagree with that position and make reasonable arguments why they disagree, okay? It is not a statement of fact. It is an opinion that is based, there's a reason for it, but there's also reasons against. So if I'm looking for something that somebody could disagree with, I have to know some history, right? I have to know some history. So what I often see students do is they identify something that is just history. They'll say the author's argument is that the United States has 50 states. Well, that's not an argument. That's a fact, okay? So you gotta first and foremost be able to identify what is an argument and what is a fact, okay? And this is why you study, this is why you have your content knowledge, this is why you know your stuff, okay? If you don't know your stuff going in, you're gonna get fooled and think something is just an argument when in fact it's just history, okay? So let's look. So I'm going to read this. It's a shorter passage. It shouldn't take long. It says, by this point in the early 1980s, the more thoughtful Soviet Politburo and Central Committee members, even if they denied the need for expanding individual liberties, clearly saw that their economies were falling behind those in the West because of the way their societies handled information. Prime among those was Andropov's protege, Mikhail Gorbachev. Suddenly, the flow of reform in the communist bloc reversed. Before 1987, it had flowed from east to west, or west to east, from the rapidly reforming satellite countries Poland and Hungary to Russia. After 1987, it flowed from Russia to the more progressive regimes, or excuse me, more repressive regimes in Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Romania, and Bulgaria. From that point on, revolutions surged through ever more complex channels and more technological advance, mass communication. Okay, good enough. So some of this is history. It just happened. Other parts, kind of arguable. Okay, so how do we identify what's arguable? We identify what's arguable by just kind of doing some basic reading comprehension skills that you should pick up in your English class, or hopefully pick up in your English class. So as I'm looking at this, it's that first sentence, it's the second or third clause where it says, even if they denied the need for expanding individual liberties, so that happened, they denied the need for expanding individual liberties, they clearly saw that their economies were falling behind in the West. So this dude is saying that the reason that there was a change in the Soviet bloc, or one of the reasons, was because the economy was going down. Now, it's not deniable that their economy was going down. That's a fact. But the aspect of it being the cause or a cause of the change in the Soviet bloc is debatable. Because you might argue that something else was a bigger cause for the decline or the change in the Soviet bloc. There might be other factors. There are other factors. This guy is saying that's a big factor. That's one of the big factors. Economy going down. Someone could argue that no, that wasn't that big of a deal. It happened, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, so you see that is not a fact. That is not a fact. It's not. It is a fact that the economy changed. It is not a fact that that was the cause or the major cause for the change in the Soviet bloc. So identifying that is what your task is. Now, word of advice, if you're writing this type of prompt or you see this type of prompt, the wording of it might say identify the claim or the argument or whatever, and you might think that it's all good to just stop there. So identifying that's the claim. He's saying that the economy was the major reason that things changed in the Soviet bloc. You're not wrong, but let's just seal the deal and follow that ACE formula that we've been training you on all year. Answer the question, cite specific evidence, and expand on evidence. So in this case, you're going to give me some evidence outside of this text right here that tells us what's going on in that economy, that kind of backs up the dude's claim, and then you're going to expand on that by maybe commenting on some of the effects of that economy, or perhaps you're going even further back, some of the causes of that economic downturn. Okay, maybe they spent too much money on their space program or on defense and didn't pay attention to this other stuff. I don't know. Well, I do know, but I'm not going to spend time on it. So you see what I'm saying? You need to really get there with first identifying it correctly, but then seal the deal by giving some background evidence and some expansion of that evidence. That's how you're going to do well. That's how you're going to be successful on these types of prompts. Again, people, I can't emphasize this enough. You are going to see a prompt or several prompts that you are asked to identify the author's argument or claim. So the more practice that you get doing that, the more reading comprehension skills that you have, the better chances you're going to be successful on these types of prompts. Don't take it for granted. Don't assume it's going to happen. You can identify, or rather misidentify, the author's claim, and then part A, it's just going to be wrong. Okay? Anyway, If you have questions, need help on other stuff, let me know. I hope this is helpful. Stay tuned. We have more SAQ stuff coming your way. Keep practicing and let me know how I can help. We'll see you later.